Good morning. Today I will cover the LibreOffice 10th anniversary, the story of the community during these 10 years, or even better, during the 20 years that are passed since July 19, 2000, when Sun announced OpenOffice.org. The OpenOffice community, after 10 years, announced LibreOffice 10 years ago on September 28, 2010. We should always remember that the history of OpenOffice is a lot older, as it starts in 1984 in northern Germany, when Marco Börries releases StarWriter. During the years, StarWriter becomes StarOffice with the addition of other modules, and in 1999 Sun acquires Star Division and decides to release the StarOffice source code as open source to create a community around the project. That project, with Sun coordinating or managing the entire project, lasted for 10 years. But during that time, the community started to grow and also started to complain a little bit about Sun's management of the project. In fact, OpenOffice was quite lean in the year 2000. These are the dependencies of StarOffice 5.2, but over the years, in 5 years, became quite fat as the features were added, but the code was not cleaned. So several of the most senior developers in the community, independent from Sun, started to complain. And at the Lyon conference in 2006, Michael Bemmer, the leader of the StarOffice division at Sun, made a promise that the code would have been, the complexity of the code would have been reduced, the handling of patches would have been simplified, and newcomers would have been mentored. Unfortunately, this didn't happen during the years until 2010, and was achieved by the LibreOffice community after 2010. As I said, in 2009, Oracle acquired Sun. It was a terrible day for open source and especially for OpenOffice. The community that had already started to discuss about the future of the project decided to turn upside down the culture and switch from the umbrella culture managed by Sun, where the company was basically protecting the project, but also avoiding that anything that was not in line with Sun's objective could happen inside the project, to a mixing bowl culture where all the members of the community could have a say in the development of the project and could participate to the development and the decision. So on September 28, 2010, the OpenOffice community announces the Document Foundation. The foundation is independent, and we chose at the time the brand LibreOffice because that was the best name available at the time in terms of copyright, intellectual property, and availability of internet domains. Basically, what we decided to do was to relaunch the innovation. The OpenOffice at the time risked to be abandoned by Oracle because it was not within Oracle objectives, and so the community wanted to bring OpenOffice further. It could not use the name OpenOffice because that was property of Oracle, so we decided to find another name. These two pies represent the situation of contribution 10 months before and 10 months after the fork of September 28. As you can see, during the 10 months before the fork, 66 plus 16% of the contribution were from Sun or from the OpenOffice division. After the fork, the situation became a lot more balanced. There were more companies contributing. There were newcomers into the project. There were companies that were not allowed to contribute before that could give a visible and important contribution to the project. So what happened is that we announced LibreOffice 3.3 in late January 2011, just before FOSDEM, and these were the gadgets that we released at FOSDEM that year, where the interest around the LibreOffice project was just huge. We also decided that releases would happen every 6 months. They would have been synchronized with the Linux distribution, like any normal free software project, and there would have been monthly or bi-monthly bugfix releases on the stable branch. This has happened since 2010, and after 10 years we have maintained steadily this cadence. This, in terms of situation, is what happened with the OpenOffice source code. As you can see, we announced the OpenOffice is the black one, so the gray one is LibreOffice, the dark gray one is LibreOffice, and the light gray one is Apache OpenOffice. What happened is that Oracle at the time had a contract with IBM, and IBM didn't want to work with the community. So they decided to give the OpenOffice code to Apache Foundation, basically with the objective of killing LibreOffice. This luckily didn't happen, and basically the contrary happened. OpenOffice is almost completely abandoned, while LibreOffice is growing and keeps on releasing new versions and new features. Also, what the OpenOffice and what IBM was saying at the time, that LibreOffice would abandon open document format, as is completely false, as the reality is that the release of Open Document Format 1.3 happened because the Document Foundation managed to find money for the release of the standard, managed to put money into the release of the standard, and basically managed to achieve what the enemies were saying that we would have never done. This as a testament to the fact that is LibreOffice the real heir of OpenOffice. So the Document Foundation, a few words on the Document Foundation. This was the first home page of the website. Not exciting, I would say, in terms of visual, but very important in terms of content. The founding principles of the Document Foundation. We decided to have a copyleft license. We decided not to have a contributor agreement. We decided to be based on meritocracy. We decided to have a community governance, and we decided to be vendor independent. What does it mean, vendor independent? It means that no company can have more than 1/3 of votes in any of the two governing bodies of the Document Foundation, the Board of Directors and the Membership Committee. The Board of Directors is responsible for the day-to-day activity and for the management of the project. The Membership Committee is responsible for accepting members, renewing members, and controlling the membership situation. These are the numbers. The Board of Directors is 7 members plus 3 deputies, and has people from for 2 years. The Membership Committee also is for 2 years, is 5 members and 4 deputies, and the election of the Membership Committee has just happened. We have then an advisory board that advises the Board of Directors with 15 entities, companies, and free software foundations. And then we have the members, the Board of Trustees, with 215 members. If you contribute to LibreOffice, you are warmly invited to apply as members. And of course, we have a large number of developers, which are definitely LibreOffice main asset. When we started, OpenOffice was considered as a very difficult source code to hack on. And what the senior developers did was to manage the source code and find the task that could be achieved even by newcomers without dealing with the entire source code base, which is over 7 million lines of code. And we call these easy hacks. Easy hacks have several advantages. They are simple and accessible tasks. They have the objective of ease the learning curve, and also to solve small problems which should have been solved otherwise by core developers. And core developers have mentored newcomers and checked their work on easy hacks, and this is a picture where Michael Mix is mentoring a younger developer in on the source code. Thanks to Easy Hack and thanks to the fact that the project showed immediately that was dynamic, that was growing, and that was offering a future to the OpenOffice source code, the number of developers grew quite quickly. As you can see, in September 2010, we announced with around 20 developers, but in October 2010, 80 developers joined the group, and since then we always had at least 3 new developers per month until today. Of course, after a while we stopped counting new developers, especially when Apache OpenOffice stopped having developer and stopped throwing FUD or FAD on LibreOffice, as they did until 2014 when IBM was active in the project. Developers also worked at renewing the code, cleaning the code. The first thing was to change the build system, which has been completely rewritten, and now is, as Carl Vogel says, is extremely easy to build. Unit tests were also created and added. So this is the situation up to LibreOffice 6.0, but they are growing as there are new unit tests for each new significant feature, which are added and performed on a regular basis. Also, we did load crash testing on import and export. As you can see, the situation improved quite a lot, and there are also automated testing on specific module. These are the testing on calc. Last, we translated German comments. As I said earlier, Star Office was born in Germany, and at first was not supposed to be an international or a global project. So the source code was commented in German, and of course when we started, we realized that a source code commented in German would be a barrier to the contribution of people not speaking German. So we started to translate German comments in English, and by doing this we also cleaned comments which were not anymore relevant. We cleaned comments that were still there, although they were replaced by newer feature. The situation now is that we still have a few words of German in the source code, but the newcomers do find a source code which is completely commented in English. This is the situation of commits during the last 2 years, more or less March 2018, February 2020. The situation is not really different as of today. So we have different companies providing a significant contribution, as you can see: Collabora, Red Hat, CIB. We also have a large number of companies providing a smaller number of contribution, but still incredibly important ones. Some of them are working specifically at solving interoperability issues with Microsoft Office. And as you can see, 28% of the Git commits are by independent volunteers, which is very important because this maintains and protects the diversity of the project. The Git commits, of course, have a different trend per week, but as you can see, these are the same numbers over the 2 years period on a weekly basis. We also care a lot about the quality of the source code, and the quality of the source code has also indicators. One of them is the Coverity Scan score. As you can see, in 2018 we reached the outstanding objective of having 0 defects, and you can say yes, but this was 2018, which is the situation today. As you can see, today we have 1. So we don't have, I would say, anything different than from 2018, and this gives LibreOffice an incredible advantage in terms of source code cleanliness, both on free open source software and on proprietary software. As you can see, free open source software, of course, has a better quality than proprietary software, but LibreOffice has an incredibly better quality than both of them. We also use fuzzing technologies. One of the most known is Google OS Fuzz, but we use others. As you can see from this, these are the commits that are based on different fuzzing tools. You can see that there is Coverity, but there are others. And this is an area where we get the contribution of people that has specific competencies in areas, and they help us in spotting vulnerabilities before the vulnerabilities reach the end user. And these are the development cycles. As you can see, we started with code cleaning, we got to code refactoring, then we went to the user interface, and then to ubiquitous productivity, which means that LibreOffice is available today on every RIA platform, and we will see that later. We achieved several objectives which were incredibly important, and the reality is that at the end we paid down a substantial technical debt that was present when we forked in 2010. And now let's look at the community. The community contributes in many areas. Community is mostly based by individuals in this case, although in the community there are companies that are contributing, but now I'm looking at statistics which are specific or more specific to individuals. These are questions and comments on Ask LibreOffice. These are Bugzilla issues that are managed. As you can see, the number of issues is stable. We try to keep the number of solved issues, which are the light blue, always at a certain level. The community has a number of regular contributors, more or less 1,000, as you can see from these numbers. We have 70 contributors which are regular ones, and produce almost 80% of all the commits. We have 180 which are regular, core is daily, regular we would say is weekly or monthly, casual is quarterly or yearly. It is important to have this number that have a regular replacement, because although the casual are doing only 5%, that 5% can be very important. And the community is very widespread. Dark green is where we have members, light green is where we have active community, but we don't have members. We invite people in these areas to apply for membership, because we consider that very important to become members of the Document Foundation, to contribute in a more active way and to be recognized for contribution by the project. LibreOffice has an extremely large number of language versions. We ship 119 languages, but there are 145 active language projects. There are 4,600 users registered on WebLate. Of course, not all of them are active on a daily basis, as I said. They are, most of them are active twice a year when we have major release. But it's extremely important that LibreOffice is releasing languages that are not major languages, and therefore they risk in some cases to disappear. I can make the examples of Guarani as South American languages spoken in Paraguay, Argentina, and which as only LibreOffice has software available in their own language. Of course, all the Guarani people, or most of the Guarani people, also speak Spanish, but it's important that they have a software which represents and reflects their culture. And every year we have a conference. We had LibreOffice conference in Paris in 2011, in Berlin in 2012, in Milan in 2013, in Bern, Switzerland in 2014, in Aarhus in Denmark in 2015, in Brno, Czech Republic in 2016, in Rome, again in Italy in 2017, in Tirana, Albania in 2018, in Almeria, Spain in 2019. In Almeria we had a bus even to bring people to the conference venue. And in 2018 we had a conference in Indonesia. The Indonesian community is a very large one. And in 2019 we had conferences from local communities, such as the Libre Italia conference in Italy. This was in Palermo. And in 2019 we also had continental conferences. We had LibreOffice conference Latin America in Paraguay at the University of Asunción. And we had the LibreOffice conference Asia in Tokyo. It's very important to have these community gatherings. In 1 month we will have the LibreOffice conference, which is going to be virtual in 2020 because of the current situation, but we hope in 2021 to meet again face to face with our community. And now let's go quickly to standards and interoperability. LibreOffice is the only software that provides a document standard format for true interoperability. On the other hand, Microsoft writes manuals on how to lock in your clients, and if you look at the OpenOffice XML, at the Microsoft Office XML files, you perfectly understand how they have been developed for lock-in. It's a very sophisticated way of locking in the users, because they don't see where they are locked in. So the Open Document Format is the true document standards which offers freedom of choice. Freedom of choice because it's written and described in a way that can be implemented in a good way by different projects. The description is clear, the standard is extremely well written, respects other standards. And the result is ODF-based interoperability, which means that the content is decoupled from the software. You can use any software and the content will always be the same or extremely similar. I mean, the file will look the same, but the underneath contents, which are written in XML language, will be extremely similar even if produced by different software. In the case of Microsoft Office files, the content, the file is always the same, but the content is extremely different even if written by different version of the same software. So this is the reason why if other software tries to read the Microsoft Office documents, they often fail, because the what was the XML for that content for that file 6 months ago will probably be completely different today. So an interoperable file format means that, independent from the software, you will have something that can be written and read in the same way by every software. In terms of documents formats, so we have a pseudo standards, which is Microsoft Office document format or Office Open XML. Doc, XLS, and PPT are proprietary. DocX, XLSX, and PPTX are XML based, but the reality is that it doesn't change. The situation doesn't change a lot. They are all proprietary format. Open document format is a real standard, is XML, is consistent, is versioned, and in terms of standard is definitely superior. Let's make an example. Let's take the famous LibreOffice, the famous Shakespeare sentence, to be or not to be, that is the question. If you take LibreOffice in 2017, 2018, 2019, the description, that sentence will always be written in the same way in terms of XML. And as you can see, the XML tags are absolutely standard. Text, P for paragraph, style. The P1 is a code for paragraph 1. Of course, in this case, the document is just a paragraph, so there is only a P1. In a longer document, there would be a P2, P3, P4, according to the format of different paragraphs. But this will all be explained in a clear way inside the LibreOffice document, inside the XML of the LibreOffice document. On the other hand, if we take Microsoft Office Shakespeare in 2017, you see you have a 2B, then you have the comma as a different in a different line. You have a space which is preserved because it's together with the previous one, etc. Is a little bit weird, but in addition you can look at the XML tags. They are not standard. They have been completely rewritten, which means that the description is longer. One of the reasons why the description of Office Open XML is longer than the description of ODF is because even the XML standard has been rewritten and therefore had to be described, while the standard one just refers to the XML general standard syntax. In 2018, as you can see, the same sentence changes, and the same happens in 2019, which is a little bit simpler in terms of structure, but the reality is that in any case is not XML standard. Let's look at the another example. Let's look at colors. This square is red for our brain, and for the computer is the FF0000 color. LibreOffice describes that square in the same way in Writer, in Calc, and in Press. And again, the tags are standard: format, color, and the color code. In Office Open XML, you have different tags according to the software. So you have a W, which is word, color, again W, value, and the color value. In Excel, you have no reference to the application, because there's no tag that tells you that this is Excel. So color RGB and the code color is different, but because there are two F more than the real code. And in PowerPoint you have an A, because the original name of PowerPoint before the software was acquired by Microsoft started with A, and you have a sRGB CLR that should be RGB color and then the value. By the way, this is not an RGB color by any mean, so completely non-standard, completely invented XML tags. And inadequate interoperability, so interoperability based on proprietary format as a cost. Not many research, but luckily there is this one which is made by the National Institute of Standard and Technology, which is a body of the US government. They checked the situation of the US capital facilities industry, which basically is the industry that gives money to companies that build large buildings like skyscrapers, commercial facilities, and so on. At the end of the year, these guys realized that $1 billion were missing from the picture. So they were lending $100 billion, and they got documentation for 99. So what happens is it happens that cost of interoperability, as you can see, manual re-entry cost, which means I could not read the document, I had to retype it completely because it was not compatible, is almost $500 million. And this is before start of the work, and this is after, so there are another $30 million. So the reality is that almost $500 million, $500 million is lost because of lack of interoperability in a single industry, in a single country. In addition, the issue is that the complexity of the XML allows to people, to the malware industry, to use documents, Microsoft Office document, as carriers of viruses and other malware attacks. This is the situation in 2011. As you can see, you have PPT, Docker, and XLSX, and this is the situation in 2018 according to Kaspersky Labs. 70% of all the attacks in the last quarter on 2018 were carried by Microsoft Office files. So there is not just a question of interoperability, but there is a question of security. So to summarize, you have a proprietary document format and you don't have interoperability. If you use a pseudo standard, you have false interoperability. You think you have interoperability. The reality is that the interoperability is based on the use of that software, and you have a true standard document format, so full interoperability based on format and not on the software. Last, about LibreOffice, we released 2 versions, as you probably know. We call it Fresh and Still. They are targeted to new early adopters and to production environments. The production environment version has also LTS options available from ecosystem companies. So these are the LibreOffice versions. You have a desktop from TDF, an LTS from Collabora and CIB, an online version from TDF, Collabora, and CIB with different characteristics, an Android version from Collabora, an iOS and Apple Store from Collabora, and a Windows Store from CIB. LibreOffice 7.0 recently announced as ODF 1.3 support, as a Skia graphic engine and GPU acceleration, and improved MS Office compatibility. These are the main flagship features, but then you have a video that tells you which are the other features. Number of users of LibreOffice, we calculate to have 100% of desktop Linux users, 10% of desktop Windows and macOS users. At the end, the total of this is around 250 million users, but we reduced this to 200 million to account for duplication. Of course, not all the 200 million are exclusive users. Many of them, probably 50%, use LibreOffice and use another Office suite either online or on the desktop. Our objectives: educating enterprises about getting professional support for LibreOffice. Still the number of enterprises paying for the use of LibreOffice is extremely small in comparison with all the people that is using them. Increase the certification program to allow community members to add value and make money with LibreOffice, and help migration from MS Office to LibreOffice based on professional support, which is also based on the certification. And that was all. Thank you for listening to me. I hope this was interesting. If you have questions, these are my email address. And thank you, and hopefully goodbye, and see you in Kosovo in 2021.
All right, thank you for the presentation, Italio. Those that have attended SFK conferences know that you are an old friend of SFK and of flossk. I don't know if the audience has any questions. You can write them down on the chat down here. But I had a few to start with. Can you tell us more about the online efforts? How developed are those, and what's going on in that department?
So the online version of LibreOffice is developed and available. We at the moment there are basically two different products. One is a commercial product. It's called Collabora Online, and it's for enterprise deployments where when you need support. And then we have a Docker a release, which is a Docker container released by the Document Foundation. That is, of course, what is released by the Document Foundation has to be integrated with an online storage or an online cloud service like Nextcloud, and then you need to manage sign-on because people active on the documents have to be recognized, and they have to have a unique ID. We are discussing at the moment on how to release a version from the Document Foundation, because this is important that we provide also an open source version. But of course, we cannot put the business of the companies that have developed the online version at a risk. So I think there will be a delay between the release of new features on the commercial version and on the community version. We still have not decided which is going to be this delay, but let's say that the TDF version is already working properly. We want to release something which is easier to deploy, but of course, being easier to deploy, that would allow even large enterprises that are at the moment paying for the commercial version to use it for free. As we have seen, unfortunately, during our 10 years history, the number of enterprises who are willing to pay even a small amount of money for the use of LibreOffice is really negligible or close to zero. We get a lot more money from individual donors, from individual users that decide to donate to the project than for companies that are using LibreOffice, even in some cases on hundreds or thousands of seats. We need to improve the education of these companies and have this company understand that either they start contributing in some way, which can be by hiring developers, can be by paying developers to solve bugs, can be by hiring developers to solve new features, can be by paying a version, a long-term supported version. Otherwise, the sustainability of the project may have risks. Of course, this doesn't mean that the project is not stable, but the issue is that the developers would focus their attention on different areas or on different projects, and the pace of development of LibreOffice could slow down. So it is important that also in local communities understand that using LibreOffice is a fantastic opportunity for enterprises, but the enterprises should contribute in some way to the project, because otherwise there is a real risk of the project becoming less competitive in terms of features in comparison with what is available in the market.
All right, message taken. Where do you see the project in the, let's say, in the next 5 years? Perhaps 10 years is too long to plan in tech, but what's going to happen and where do you need most help, perhaps, as well?
Let's say that I think that in 5 years, the integration between the different versions of LibreOffice will be stronger. Now, of course, we have a desktop version which is 30 years old in terms of code in some areas, is at least 10 years old in terms of our source code. We have an online version which is 4 years old probably, and mobile version which is 2.5 years old. So they are at different stages of development, different level of robustness. They will be more aligned in the future. We plan to have better marketing of the project. We would like to start working with universities to have to educate more students to open source, to have hopefully some of them decide to contribute to LibreOffice in different areas. We need the project is huge, so we need people in every area. Development, of course, quality assurance is important, documentation is important. Localization is very important. LibreOffice is actually the software available in the highest number of languages, 119, but we have more language project coming. And we have applied to the Guinness World Record to be recognized as the software available in the highest number of languages. So we wait for an answer from them. And of course, marketing is important as well. We have an infrastructure where we already have a number of volunteers taking care of it, but the infrastructure is big, and we need contributors there as well. Design. We know that, for instance, in Albania, there is an open source design community, and contributing to the design of LibreOffice can be important. So the contribution may be really everywhere. The project is really extremely large. It's probably one order of magnitude larger than usual open source project because we have a larger number of end users. And while the majority of open source projects have technical users and not common users like LibreOffice. So the opportunities are many. The website, What Can I Do for LibreOffice, has been developed in Albania, so by the Albanian community. So maybe someone from Kosovo has contributed as well. And that's all. Unfortunately, this year we will have only a virtual conference. It's going to be in around a month, October 15, 16, 17. But we hope to be able to meet the people in the community again in 2021, probably in Germany, as Germany had to cancel the conference in 2020.
Okay, and one last question, since the time is up. What can you tell us about adoption in the region? There were some developments in Albania, in Tirana. You had the LibCon there, and we hope to host it in Kosovo, hopefully soon. But any other sparks of hope or major developments in the region that you have seen?
The one I don't know of any additional. I mean, the city of Tirana has moved, so there may be other cities in Albania. Unfortunately, most of the people that move to LibreOffice are coming from the proprietary software environment, so they do not consider the opportunity of talking with the community. And when we talk with some of them, they confuse the document foundation and the community for a software vendor. It is true that we are similar to a software vendor, but we are a community. So it's difficult to explain and to teach people that working with open source is different in many. Also, in the case of interacting with the community that is developing the software. During the last year, only CERN in Geneva has approached us in the right way as a community, but this is because many people at CERN are open source contributors, so they already know the environment. In other cases, it's really difficult. There is a huge confusion between a company and a community, and people think that if you talk to some people from the community, then you get engaged and you have to pay money, or you know that what happens in proprietary environment. So this is something also where we should educate people that talking and working with the community is probably the first thing that you should start doing when you think about moving to LibreOffice. Then, of course, there will be a point where you have to decide if you want to do a professional migration. You need to get consultants that can help you. But this is not the first contact. Is probably at the second level when you already understand the software, you already understand the standard formats, and you start working with the community. But this is not happening. So in many cases, we don't know where LibreOffice is used, because the users, if they are not used to open source, they are scared about talking with us. It's like, you know, they are scared like they're talking to Microsoft or Oracle, like we had a license that can block them and lock them in for years, which is exactly the opposite that happens with open source. And this, I think, is not only for LibreOffice, but for most open source software.
Okay, thank you very much, Italo. Next up, we move to Dren Imeray, who's a hardware developer, among other things, in Kosovo, from Kosovo. And his session is called Designing an Open Source Acoustic Precipitation Sensor.